Dude, Apex Legends wins my personal Game of the Year award, and the total value of that award is about equivalent to a couple packs of ramen noodles. Nonetheless, I wanted to get that out there. This game is so much fun and was incredibly well polished at launch, by today's standards anyways. Sure, it is not without issues, but compared to recent launch experiences, I can handle this game's flaws, which are far outweighed by everything else it has to offer. And what it offers is the next evolution of the Battle Royale genre, whether it be the first ever respawn mechanic in a BR, the revolutionary smart comm system, or the pretty tight jump master function. To be honest, I played it day one, and for the first time in a while, I went to bed actually wishing I was still playing a game. It's been a while since I've had a game like that. But naturally, I had to wonder if this was just another Islands of Nine or Realm Royale BR fad. Or was this one actually going to last? Was it going to grow into the next big thing when it comes to BR games? And that's actually what I got wrong. Despite loving my first day on the game, I read this as being another Blackout or Islands of Nine, which were flashy enough to catch everyone's attention for a little while, but soon became a bland, repetitive experience whose initial hype fizzled away. That can't be further from what happened with Apex, and that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Of course, this will be a combination of straight up facts, which we'll look at next, but also just my opinion. I mean, an opinion from someone who's played nearly every Battle Royale since H1 and has more hours logged in H1 and PUBG than any other game I've played, but nonetheless, it is still just an opinion. But first, let's take a look at the undisputable facts, the numbers that speak to the success of this free-to-play Battle Royale. Within the first 8 hours of launch, Apex Legends amassed over 1 million players, over doubling that number to 2.5 million unique players by the end of its very first day. But they're not even close to stopping there, hitting 10 million players after just 72 hours or 3 days, and continuing on to 25 million players at the end of their first week. Then finally, the last update we got was that they had hit 50 million unique players a month after launch, specifically 28 days after Apex Legends was released. Now, that's an impressive feat considering it took PUBG nearly a year to hit those numbers. However, that is hardly a fair comparison given the staggered platform releases of PUBG and that PUBG itself sits behind a $30 paywall, unlike the free-to-play Apex Legends. So let's compare it to that other free-to-play BR game a few people might have heard about, Fortnite. Fortnite Battle Royale hit 10 million players in 2 weeks. And Apex Legends hit 10 million in just 3 days. Fortnite recorded 45 million players after 3.5 months, and Apex Legends hit 50 million after just 1 month. And you might say, yeah, well, PUBG and Fortnite have primed the scene, blazed the trail, and prepared the way for a successful BR launch. Well, tell that to Ring of Elysium, Islands of Nine, Realm Royale, Radical Heights, and the list goes on. 2 of those previously listed have been formally shut down. So yes, no comparison is completely apples to apples, but it's safe to say Apex has hit the too big to die status. It may not become the next biggest thing, the hype could even die off quite a bit, but that doesn't mean this game is going anywhere anytime soon. Within its first month, they already had multiple Twitch Rival and Code Red tournaments with the biggest names in gaming like S.K.W.A.D, Dizzy, Summit, Dr. Disrespect, Ninja, Mendo, King Richard, etc, etc. I think I saw viewership of one of those tournaments peak at around 680,000 live concurrent viewers. In the same week, Fortnite had a tournament that peaked at around 280,000. For the entirety of the first month, the Apex category on Twitch was climbing above the Fortnite category in viewership, which, even if it is not anymore, that's still a huge feat, considering no other new release such as The Division 2 or Anthem has been able to do near the same. Yes, streamers were paid to stream it and promote it, just like every other new release, but that was literally limited to the first few days of its launch, and many of those streamers continued to play and rave about it far beyond their promotional contract. Another thing we saw the first month was holiday-themed cosmetics for Valentine's Day, a Twitch Prime loot promotion, and a new weapon, the Havoc, added to the game. Of course, as of posting this video, the first ever Battle Pass for Apex should be live. Now, real quick, let me address the Fortnite thing before I get attacked. Is this the Fortnite killer? Is this the next Fortnite? Absolutely not. Just like Fortnite didn't kill PUBG, seriously, PUBG continued to have 800,000 to a million plus concurrent players every day over 2 years after release. Massively successful numbers for any modern title, and I should note that's only on PC. That doesn't include the more successful free-to-play PUBG Mobile and the console versions. So even less so, Apex will hardly be able to put a dent in Fortnite's empire. In fact, Fortnite hit their largest concurrent player count on a normal day during the month of Apex's release, which was 7.6 million concurrent players on February 16th. And Fortnite has been back on its throne in Twitch as the most watched category this month. It doesn't matter whether you like to hear that or not, that's just the facts. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. Multiple fun games can exist at the same time. I know, crazy, but it's true. Okay, here's where the stats get scary for Apex, when you dive into the Google Trend data. Now, it's important to note that this strictly represents search volume within Google. This does not represent player count, revenue, anything like that, but it's still fun to compare. So when you pull up Apex in the last 90 days, since it's only been out for a month and a half, things look pretty grim. It spikes way up in search volume at launch, but appears to massively decline. Honestly, having watched many games in Google Trends, I have not seen a pattern like this, and here's my best guess as to why. Apex Legends had a completely unique launch. See, you're supposed to underpromise and overdeliver. Most games today fail by overpromising and underdelivering. That's the trend now anyways, to massively overhype a game prior to launch, only for it to release uncompleted. But Respawn did neither of those because they no-promised and then massively overdelivered. This was the most out-of-nowhere launch I've ever seen. We just woke up one day and they were like, hey, by the way, here's a whole entire game. Most games are prepped with content in the lead up, have a climb in interest, but that could potentially be why there's such a huge spike and drop off in Google Trends for Apex. It launched with zero prior information, so all at once, everyone had to go figure out what this new big game was all about. Now, here's why I'm not concerned about the fall off after launch, because even with the decline, when I add in other big first-person shooters, which I'll get to Fortnite in a second, you see just how much bigger Apex still is. There's PUBG, Overwatch, Call of Duty. Also, every game I've talked about in this video peaked over a year after launch. PUBG peaked around the 1-year mark. Fortnite just peaked at around the 2-year mark. Of course, Rainbow Six Siege grew and grew and grew for probably 3+ years now. So if this low point is the starting point for Apex Legends growth, it has a ton of potential. It could even stall out right here and still remain well over twice as big as many current popular titles. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens when the data comes in following the Season 1 launch. Everything I'm showing you right now is Google Trend data prior to when the Season Pass launches. Now Fortnite, like I said, is an empire that can't even be dented by Apex or any other game right now. Here's Apex Legends compared to Fortnite, which I'm actually surprised that at one point Apex and Fortnite were neck and neck in Google Trends. But the sheer size of Fortnite is untouchable. Prior to Fortnite, the benchmark would have been a game like Minecraft, available on all platforms, fun for all ages, cross-platform, so much content being pumped into Google. And I mean, the biggest factor is kids. Kids dominate the traffic for stuff like this, and Fortnite currently owns all the kids. Whether it's Battle Royale, Save the World, Playground, all the hundreds of possibilities and game modes in creative, there's just infinitely more content for Fortnite right now, and it shows in a big way in Google Trends. You can't even compare other games to it. You have to start comparing it to other pop culture icons like Donald Trump or something. Anyway, all of that to say Apex was already successful beyond their wildest dreams. The CEO of Respawn announced that they had hit well over 2 million concurrent players. Recent free-to-play BRs like Realm Royale only peaked at 104,000 concurrent players, and Ring of Elysium was 63,000. So it is not a bad start for them at all. There's rumors that Tencent has already been in communication with Respawn, which means an entrance to the Chinese market and quite possibly a mobile version in the near future. Also, releasing at the same time on PC and consoles sets them up for a potential shift to cross-platform in the future, which would explode the game even further. But anyway, that was all the facts portion of the video. I wanted to get more into my personal opinion, what I think the future of Apex looks like, what they need to do to thrive in the Battle Royale scene, but this video is already turning out to be be much longer than I wanted, so I'm gonna have to split it up and save my thoughts for another video. Bottom line is, we currently have multiple good games on our hands right now. People that say Apex is dead or Fortnite is dead or whatever are just projecting their desire but aren't looking at the numbers. Play what you have fun playing. I definitely think Apex is here to stay with a lot of future potential on its hands. And also, Fortnite has nothing to worry about. A little competition is a very, very good thing. I mean, Fortnite has already copied Apex Legends' ping system and is working on a similar respawn mechanic. Apex appears to be nearly identically copying Fortnite's Battle Pass blueprint, and that's what I like to see. When something proves to be successful, implement it. That's it for this video though. Hopefully a few people out there are as interested in the numbers as I am. Hannah's got a couple videos coming up as well, so stay tuned in to the channel for those, and we will see you guys later.